$100. Not $1,000. Not $10,000. Just $100. It's the kind of money that disappears without a story. A couple of takeout meals. A subscription you forgot existed. A few random purchases you barely remember 2 weeks later. By the 15th of the month, it's gone. And if I asked where last month's $100 went, there's a good chance you couldn't tell me. Hey, I'm Brian, and I spend way too much time thinking about why some financial decisions change lives, while others disappear without a trace. Now, before we go any further, I need to be honest about something. The math is slower than you think. Much slower. In fact, the first few years are genuinely unimpressive in a way that causes most people to stop. If you're expecting $100 a month to turn into extraordinary wealth overnight, this is going to be disappointing. At first, because what makes $100 a month so powerful has almost nothing to do with the money itself. The account balance grows slowly, the identity changes immediately, and that's what we're going to break down today. We're going to walk through what actually happens after 1 month, 6 months, 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, and 30 years of investing just $100 every month. Not the fantasy version. The real version. The version where nothing seems to happen until suddenly something very important has been happening the entire time. And if you enjoy honest conversations about money, consider subscribing. I put out a new video every week because I want to talk about what happens when that $100 goes somewhere intentional instead. Most financial advice focuses on outcomes, balances, returns, net worth. But something more important happens first. Imagine tonight you open a brokerage account. You connect your bank account. You set up an automatic transfer of $100 every month. You choose a broad market index fund. Then you close the laptop. The entire process takes maybe 20 minutes. Tomorrow morning you wake up. Nothing looks different. The coffee tastes the same. The bills are still there. Your job hasn't changed. Your bank account isn't dramatically larger. From the outside, absolutely nothing happened. But that's not true. Something happened that is easy to miss because it doesn't show up on a statement. Before that night, you were someone who intended to invest someday. After that night, you were someone who invests. Those are not the same person. Before the transfer, investing was a future plan. After the transfer, investing became part of your identity. That distinction matters more than it sounds, because behavior follows identity. When you see yourself as an investor, you start paying attention to different things. You notice fees, you notice waste, you notice opportunities. Not because someone forced you to, because your brain starts looking for evidence that matches the kind of person you believe you are. And that's the strange thing about investing. The money compounds later, the identity compounds immediately. If you're new here and just subscribed, comment your name below. I read every comment and shout out new subscribers in my next video. I do appreciate you joining me on this finance journey. So let's fast forward 1 month. $100 has been invested. That's it. $100. Depending on market movement, maybe the account is worth $98, maybe $102, maybe exactly $100. The number barely matters, and that's precisely why this moment is so important. Because this is where most expectations collide with reality. You expected momentum. You got stillness. You expected excitement. You got a tiny account balance that doesn't appear capable of changing anything. The dangerous part is that the situation feels insignificant. And when something feels insignificant, your brain starts asking dangerous questions. What's the point? Does this even matter? Wouldn't I be better off waiting until I can invest more? That's the trap. Because the first month was never about the balance. The first month was about proving that the system exists. One transfer, one investment, one completed cycle. You are establishing a pattern, and patterns are what eventually become outcomes. The irony is that this quiet, boring month may be the most important month in the entire journey. Not because of what happened financially, because of what happened behaviorally. You kept a promise to your future self. The account balance is tiny. The significance isn't. The most important things being built right now are completely invisible. By month 6, you've invested $600, and now something interesting happens. The market decides to test you. Maybe not dramatically, just enough. Let's say the market drops and your $600 becomes roughly $563. You did everything right, and you're down money. This is the first real test. Not a test of intelligence, not a test of financial knowledge, a test of emotional stability. Because the voice shows up. The voice that says, "See, this isn't working." The voice that says, maybe I should wait until things calm down. The voice that says, I'll get back in later. That voice is loudest precisely at the moment when continuity matters most. The person who fails this test sells, then waits longer, then waits for certainty, and certainty never arrives. The person who passes this test does something that feels almost irresponsible. Nothing. They keep investing. They close the app. They continue the automatic transfer. According to research from Vanguard, investor behavior often matters as much as portfolio construction because the biggest long-term mistakes frequently come from abandoning a strategy during periods of uncertainty rather than sticking with it. That's what month 6 is really measuring. Not whether you understand markets, whether you can remain consistent when consistency feels unrewarded. Because investing is often less about what you do and more about what you refuse to do. Now let's get to the 1-year mark. You've contributed $1,200. Assuming a reasonable long-term market return, your account might be worth approximately $1,247, which means after an entire year, you've earned about $47. $47, that's the number. A year of investing, $47 of growth. And this is where many people completely miss what's happening because they focus on the $47. The real story is the rate. You are building a machine, and machines are judged differently than outcomes. That $47 is not impressive, but it represents a process that can repeat. Next year, the base is larger. The year after that, the base is larger again. The growth starts small because the foundation starts small, but something else is happening beyond the account balance. Your awareness is expanding. You begin noticing expense ratios. You begin noticing recurring subscriptions. You begin comparing the cost of debt against the return on investments. You begin asking different questions whenever money leaves your account. The $100 per month is teaching you things. Not through a book, not through a seminar, through participation. It's becoming a financial education that pays you to attend it. And while the account balance still looks modest, something much larger is quietly forming. You are no longer learning about investing. You are becoming an investor. By year 3, something subtle begins to happen. The account is no longer tiny. It's still not life-changing, but it's large enough to get your attention. And by year 5, the difference becomes visible. You've contributed $6,000. The account sits at roughly $7,200. About $1,200 of that came from growth. Not from your paycheck, not from extra hours worked, not from a raise, from time. And this is usually the moment when investing finally starts feeling real, because the machine is producing evidence. On average, the account might grow by roughly $42 in a month. Think about that for a second. You're contributing $100. The account is contributing $42. Almost half your monthly contribution is now coming from something other than you. Not every month, of course. Markets don't move in straight lines, but the trend is becoming visible. And strangely, that's when a new danger appears. Complacency. The voice changes. It no longer says, this isn't working. Now it says, you've done enough. Lifestyle inflation starts whispering. A slightly nicer car, a slightly larger payment, a slightly more expensive version of everything. And suddenly, the $100 feels optional. But here's the cost that almost nobody calculates. Imagine you stop investing for just 1 year. 12 missed contributions. $1,200 not invested. That pause feels minor, temporary, harmless. But 30 years from now, that missing $1,200 could have been worth several $1,000s. The pause that felt minor was a multi-$1,000 decision made carelessly. That's the strange thing about compounding. The consequences arrive decades after the choice, which is why consistency matters most precisely when success begins to feel normal. Fast forward to year 10. You've contributed $12,000. The account has grown to approximately $17,400. More than $5,000 has come from investment growth. And something important has changed. You no longer think about investing every month. The transfer happens automatically. The investment happens automatically. The decision was made years ago. This is no longer discipline. It's infrastructure. It's no different than rent leaving your account or a utility bill being paid. The machine is running. And that's what makes year 10 so powerful. Not the $17,400. The fact that the behavior survived long enough to become default. Anyone can be motivated for a week. Many can be motivated for a month. Very few remain consistent for 10 years. 10 years proves something. It proves you can delay gratification. It proves you can maintain a system through uncertainty. It proves you can continue doing something long after the novelty disappears. The account balance is evidence of investment returns. The decade itself is evidence of character, and that may be the more valuable asset. Now we arrive at the point where the math begins doing something remarkable. Year 20. You've contributed $24,000. The account has grown to roughly $52,000. Pause there. The market has generated approximately $28,000, more than you personally contributed. Read that again mentally. Your contributions total $24,000. The growth totals $28,000. The account has now added more money than you did. This is the moment where the relationship changes. For years, you were carrying the process. Now the process is helping carry you. You are no longer the engine. You are the steward. Your job isn't to create every dollar. Your job is to maintain the system that creates them. And then comes year 30. The number almost sounds wrong. $36,000 contributed. Approximately $121,000 accumulated. The growth portion alone is roughly $85,000. For every dollar you invested, the market contributed about $2.36. Think about that ratio. You supplied $1. Time supplied $2.36. And this is where many viewers make a mistake. They look at the $121,000 and think the lesson is about $100 per month. It's not. The lesson is about time. Watch what happens when the contribution changes. $200 per month becomes roughly $242,000 after 30 years. $300 per month approaches $363,000. $500 per month approaches more than $600,000. The contribution matters. Absolutely. But the multiplier is time. Time is the force doing the heavy lifting. The amount changes the size of the result. Time changes the nature of the result. So after all of that, what actually changes? The obvious answer is the account balance. At year 1, it's larger. At year 5, it's larger. At year 30, it's dramatically larger. That's true, but it's not the whole story. The real answer is that your relationship with money changes. You start seeing decisions differently. A recurring expense isn't just a recurring expense anymore. It's an opportunity cost. A high-interest debt balance isn't just a balance. It's a guaranteed drag on future growth. A fee isn't just a fee. It's a claim on decades of compounding. Your awareness expands. Your curiosity expands. Your understanding expands. Long before the balance becomes impressive. That's why investing is such a strange form of education. It's a financial education that pays you to attend it. The lessons aren't theoretical. They're attached to your actual behavior. And because your own money is involved, you pay attention in a way you never would otherwise. The account compounds, but so does your judgment. Picture someone lying awake at 2:54 in the morning. The room is dark. The phone lights up their face. They're checking an account balance. But they're not checking because they're curious. They're checking because they're worried. Can I afford this? Did I make a mistake? Am I falling behind? For many years, that's how money feels. Fear-driven, stress-driven, uncertain. Then something changes. Not overnight. Slowly, almost invisibly. You check again. Maybe 5 years later. Maybe 10. And the feeling is different. You're still curious, but you're no longer looking for reassurance. You're looking for progress. You're watching a system work. You're watching decades of decisions accumulate into something real. And that's what $100 a month actually buys. Not just a larger account, a different relationship with your future. The $100 you invest this month will not change your life this month. It will change the person making the decision next month and the month after that. And that person, 30 years from now, will have built something that the person on the couch tonight cannot quite picture yet. Subscribe for a new video every week and drop in the comments. What's the first thing you would cut, cancel, or redirect to find your first $100 per month? I read everyone.